Check it. Welcome back to the channel. This is Blackbook Session number 6. A little something I did on my own book only using Molotow paint markers. And if you guys are interested in this background that I did with spray paint, let me know in the comments so I could break it down in a video. Let's get to it. I picked up the Sahara beige pastel paint marker and kicked off the sketch. I started with the L, trying to find a different style. I was thinking something a little more squarish than round, but that didn't last long. I kinda gave into my style and started giving the letter more of a round look, consistent with whips. I kept the O simple, all I really added was a little whip coming out from underneath it. The U though, that letter definitely has places where I can add whips throughout it. I added a bit of details onto the letters just to see how I was feeling with them so far. I kept the I simple and leveled it with the O. The E, like always, was looking clean, to me at least. I'm very familiar with this style now. I started working on it maybe a year or so ago when I changed my name. It's definitely been worth the trial and error though. Also, I like to peep the lines I like and make them bold so I can know what lines I'll be working with. That's the sketch right there. I moved on to the filling and right away hit the letters with the splat technique using zinc yellow. When I started to fill in the L with the Sahara beige pastel, I noticed the black spray paint was kind of eating the ink. I'm assuming it's because the black spray paint I used was gloss. I got some of it filled in though and moved on to a bit more splats. Then I really started filling in. I chose random areas of the letters to start getting a flow for where I wanted the colors to blend. I picked up a different color called vanilla pastel and started working my magic, filling in more areas of the letter. I was slowly starting to build up the color scheme, so once I brought in the vanilla pastel it was over. The two pastel colors blend very well. I noticed that the area where I sprayed the black spray paint was also eating up the vanilla pastel. I continued to fill in the letters, leaving some areas somewhat visible with the zigzag technique I use. It helps the color of the zinc yellow splat be seen, almost like it's behind the pastel colors. Filling in with these markers is dope. Apart from the little issue I had from the black eating up the ink, everywhere else the markers just flow so clean over the pages. I noticed they worked even better on the gray area of the pages, maybe because both brands use very different ingredients to make their paint. Remember that I used a 94 gray that almost feels like satin. Anyways, the color schematics were coming out solid. Not too much of this color, not too much of that color, with some zigzag details spread out throughout the filling as well. I really liked how the Sahara pastel marker made its areas and zigzags really stand out. The whole thing was dope. Every letter was looking nice and bold now that they had been filled in. You can see the whips and the structure way more. I was pretty satisfied with the filling. For the outline, I picked up the purple violet Molotow marker. I traced around the physique of the letter first. Once I saw the outline forming, I steadily started adding minor details. What I like about these markers is that they can be traced over by each other, kind of like spray paint. So any mistakes I made or lines that collided can be easily cleaned up. Once I outlined the physique of the letters, I implemented some bumps, cracks, and of course some cuts spread out throughout the letters. The O, U, and I got these little diamond-shaped figures inside of their physique where the letters had been filled in. I got everything right and how I wanted it to be. I even added an extra whip on the L because I thought it was a bit plain, and I added a bit more of a circular motion on the lower left side. The process for the outline was pretty simple, apart from figuring out where I wanted those details to be placed. I then moved on to my 3D using the same color as the outline. I put a dot on the top center of my page for the direction of where I wanted my 3D to be going. I believe it's called the vanishing point. I used a ruler to make sure I got the precise places throughout my letters to be heading towards the vanishing point, aka the little dot on the top center of the page. I went around each letter figuring out what places from their physique would look the best going towards the vanishing point. On the L, O, and half of the U, the 3D went diagonal up and leaning right towards the center of the page. On the rest of the U, I, and E, however, it was all leaning diagonal up, leaning left towards the center of the page. That's due to the 3D on each letter always having a different angle moving towards the vanishing point, since it's in the middle, instead of a traditional up, down, left, or right 3D technique. I proceeded to start filling in the 3D. I filled in about half an inch worth of it, closed up the negative space by just following the letter, flowing with its rhythm and physique, stopping where the outline needs to outline, not really touching or going inside anything filled in the letters. Alright, I don't think we've hit this topic before, but I somewhat mentioned it in the outline. What I'm about to do are cleanups. Cleanups come in clutch, for real, since we're using paint-based markers, Molotow to be exact. They work pretty unique. You're able to go fully over previous marks you've made with a different color, unlike alcohol-based markers where the colors will kind of sink in and mix. With this technique, I thoroughly go around the filled in areas of the letters and gently fill in anything that's been cut out, like the whips for example. This really helps them pop out and let them be seen. It also really helps the little details inside the letters like the cracks, bumps, and the larger deep cuts. Kinda makes it a bit grimier, if that's even a word. You can see I filled in an extra part of the letter I added earlier in the sketch that I never filled in. I may have subconsciously known that I would be able to quote unquote clean that up. When you clean up with these markers, details and parts of the letters start to pop out way more. I moved on to my outer outline, and for that color I chose Dare Orange. I went around the letters purple violet outline, never touching any part of the fill-in or 3D fill-in, strictly outside around the purple violet outline. At the time I wasn't really too sure if I was digging the color. Now that I'm looking at it though, it's a pretty solid color scheme. Once I laid down the outer outline, I decided to add bubbles to fill in negative space using that same Dare Orange. There was some air pockets in between the O, U, and I mostly. A bit on the E. Bubbles are sick, like fly. Literally, it'll have your letters floating in the sky, leaving these haters bitterly asking questions like why he's so clean with the steez. The truth is, I innately do this shit at ease, so please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video if you made it this far. I highly appreciate it and it'll help the channel. I hope y'all like those sneaky bars. These bubbles though just really made the background so clean to my eyes. I went over the outline once more since the orange bubbles may have made parts of the outline thin and not so bold, maybe even cut out. I chose the cool gray pastel for the speed lines. All I really did for this effect on the 3D was with a fast moving pace stroke the markers towards the direction of the vanishing point really quickly, making the stroke seem as if they're coming out of the 3D and aiming towards the vanishing point, like a bullet. Using turquoise, I implemented small bricks throughout the burner, making it seem as if they're floating in front of the letters and in front of the bubbles. All small bricks are basically rectangles, some filled in and some just a thick line. I wasn't really rocking with the finishing outline color. I chose Signal White because I thought it would help it pop out, but I didn't really like it. It was cool, it was alright. I experimented. In retrospect, I felt like I didn't really need it, but I know now for next time. Last but not least, I added my shines using Signal White as well. It's not hard to add shines. I just place a dot on the letter where I want it to bling and add one line flaring to the top and one flaring towards the bottom, and lines flaring to the left and right. This technique will really make your letters look as if they're blinging. Of course, I had to throw up some writers who've been showing love, like the boy Mayo and Nev. I really appreciate y'all. Mr. Medic, Cryptic, Traveler 2811, E.G. Ventura, I see y'all too. Salute. If y'all write, drop those names so I could get them done for y'all, or throw you guys up on the next one. That's the finished product right there though. Nothing too grimy and nothing too crazy. Just that clean and solid Louis Stilo for y'all. For you up and coming writers, I hope y'all found this video helpful. Share it with your boys so y'all can step your game up together. Don't hesitate to drop a like or to subscribe to the channel. I really enjoy making these videos, so if there's any topic you guys want me to speak on, drop a comment. Until next time though, peace.